Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Very happy to be here today and talk about how libraries can take more strategic role in the research workflow and maximizing the impact and the visibility of the research done in your institution. I'll start with talking a bit about what we see in the world, some trends. I'm sure it will not be a huge surprise for you to hear that there is much more research. There are much more research assets that been our output that been available, whether it's books or it's scientific papers or journals as a whole. You can see the numbers, whether it's scholarly peer-reviewed journals or open access journals or both. We see that there is a lot of outputs out there, more produced and in various models and in growing pace. So we have this from one side. On the other hand, we see that the researchers themselves, although they really like to do the research by themselves, they have a lot of activities that today that they do by themselves and not they don't get as much help as we believe that they can get. So for example, these are opportunities for greater involvement of the library, like in the deposit process, in managing APCs, help with data management plans, help with open access compliance, and of course, very important, becoming more and more important, how to monitor the impact of the research. So these kind of activities today, the researchers do by themselves. We want to help them. We want to provide more value for them, and we think there is an opportunity here for the library. Looking at the research management ecosystem, we see that there are many disconnected systems, whether it's IRs or other data repositories for research or a system for discoverability, CRE systems, of course, research data management systems, and other, whether it's national, local, regional, institutional, many types of these systems, and it creates quite a chaotic system for most of the researchers that don't know about all the bits and bytes information. And we believe there is another opportunity here. So we ask the question, how can we help you to scale up and managing, showcasing all the institutional research, all the activities that is done, that are being done in the university? How can the library take more strategic role there? So there are a few answers for that. I'm going to talk about some of those. First of all, we believe that we need to have, and this is where we come with Esploro, of course, we need to come with a single SaaS-based solution. I didn't say that, but most of the solutions that I just mentioned before were on-premises solution, and it has advantages and many disadvantages. But when we're talking about the former diagram with all the silos, think about one product, SaaS-based, rich API layer that helps with the discoverability of all the outputs into these different solutions, whether it's Google Scholar, whether it's institutional pages, and others, Primo, Alma, and of course the Esploro portal as well. When we talk about scaling up, there is technology that I'll talk about later on that we call smart harvesting. This technology really helps increase the visibility of the activities within the university. With this, and I'm taking here an example of one of our customers that had institutional repository. The customer is University of Iowa. They had in their repository For example, one of the researchers here, Stanley Perlman, this is an example from 3 months ago. So maybe things have changed since then. But in the previous repository, before Esploro was implemented there, they had 38 assets for Mr. Perlman. After we activated Esploro with the smart harvesting technology, the number increased to almost 260 research assets, which is quite exciting. And on top of that, everything that is part of Esploro, so we use the smart harvesting to enrich the metadata for all the assets in the repository, and with our collaboration with Google and Google Scholar, everything that is in Esploro is easier to find through Google Scholar and Google search engines, with the increased metadata capabilities that we have with Esploro. Before I go and explain what Esploro is, for those of you who don't know or haven't heard about it, I'm going to show 2 more examples how Esploro help in showcasing the assets that you have in your university. And 2 things. On the left-hand side, you can see this is the research portal that comes with Esploro, that helps, of course, searching the repository, but also showcasing the number of downloads, the number of outputs, etc. We also have the profile. This is something that comes out of the box with Esploro as well. We have profiles that are being automatically updated with the smart by leveraging the smart harvesting mechanism. So we update the research profile, and here you see an example from Southern Cross University in Australia, where in the profile page there are all the data about the researcher. On the right-hand side, you can see the actual output page, and we are adding more and more capabilities to this page as we speak, and every month, because we have on our monthly releases, we are adding highlights, we're adding timelines, etc. So in general, these are the main capabilities for discoverability that come with Esploro. But let me take a step back and talk a bit about what Esploro is. And when we talk about Esploro, we like to say that it's a research information management solution with a research repository at its core. The research repository, this is something that we really take a lot of pride in, because it's different from other repositories available out there today. First of all, it focuses on research. So it includes a very robust and flexible data model and schema to include all academic disciplines. So we have capabilities in the repository to include not just STEM, but also HSS, and also creative arts, etc. But not just that, we link together all research assets that are relevant to the same project. For example, you have a patent that is connected to a data set, that is connected to a publication, that is connected to the grant. Everything is tied together in the same place. And afterwards, you can create analytics on top of that. You can understand which patents got out from a specific grant, or how much money do you still have in a specific grant when you connect to APC, etc. We also have the smart harvesting capability. Smart harvesting usually is not connected in the market to repositories, but more to a CRIS system. But because we are research information management with the repository, so we have harvesting where we create out of the box during the migration. Really, when you really start with Esploro, during the migration from the former repository that you have, we already activate the smart harvesting technology for better metadata population and enrichment, but also to increase additional assets to all the researchers in the university. I'll talk in a second about that as well. So with that, we're creating the research repository layer, but it's not enough because to be a repository, it's nice, but we want to increase the impact of the research activity. So when we do that, we have the portal, the research portal for showcasing, the example that I showed you a minute ago. We also, of course, allow everything to be harvested by the search engines, by external engines. So everything is available in Google Scholar in Google, but also in our portal as well. We have the research profiles that, again, automatically updated. And we have the analytics layer that I'm going to highlight in a second as well. But the analytics creates a lot of or allows universities and institutions to gain a lot of insights from the data available in the repository. All this is done, what we have in mind is to increase the efficiency of the workflows that you have today in your university, increase visibility, and increase the research impact. And this is the reason why we built Esploro. So I hope this makes sense as a beginning. I'm now going to drill down, not to all of these areas, but to some of these areas to provide some more details about Esploro and provide some more examples. If you have questions, you feel free to write them in the chat or write them down, and we'll have time at the end to answer those. First of all, when we talk about the repository itself, I already talked about the change from the institutional repository into a research repository, what we call the next-gen repository. The main differences is that it's unified and comprehensive, more metadata about all disciplines. The metadata is qualitative metadata. We are using the information available in CDI, our Central Discovery Index. We're taking metadata from there. The workflow itself for the deposit, and for whether it's the direct deposit by the researcher or mediated deposit by librarian or other staff, we worked really hard to allow automatic workflows to reduce the manual workload, and I talked about the rest already. I hope it makes sense. Some more examples of how we reduce the manual workload, specifically in the library, but not just. First of all, Esploro is part of the Libris higher ed platform. So it's out of the box integrated with Alma, with Primo, with Leganto, with all the higher ed products. Now, this allows for many use cases for increasing the automatic workflow. For example, if you already have a book with mark record that you want it to be assigned to a specific researcher in Esploro. So it's just a matter of doing a right click, assigned to the researcher, and it's there from Alma. It gets into Esploro. Another example is the analytics, which I'm going to show some examples. The profile page can include information, the researcher profile page can include information from Leganto as well. So we are integrating all the information from the higher ed platform into one place. We are also integrating, or integrated already, into ProQuest thesis and dissertation product. So if the university has the ETD admin, the deposit tool for ProQuest for PQDT, then the deposit itself goes automatically to ProQuest. This isn't a dissertation product, but also into Esploro. So it's one action that goes into two places. During the deposit process, we are inquiring the information that we have in our own indexes about the item that has been deposited during the deposit process. So once a researcher or a librarian or someone else starts the deposit process, enters some identifiers for the asset, we automatically take information from our indexes and fetch the metadata into the page, into Esploro, and we reduce the amount of time needed for this process. One of our customers said that in the previous system that they had, it took them 10 minutes to do a deposit. Now it takes them 2, which is great. We also have DOI publishing, minting mechanism. Automatically, we can register and mint the DOI if you have an account. And already talked about the smart harvesting. So there are many ways, and these are just the highlights, many ways to reduce the manual workload in the library throughout the research process. Let me talk a bit about the smart harvesting. The goal that we have with the smart harvesting is to leverage the CDI, the Central Discovery Index, where we have, actually this is an old slide, I think that we have now more than 4 billion assets there, and other open repositories available to automatically fetch and create full list of research outputs and the metadata of it to all the affiliated researchers. How do we do that? We use machine learning algorithm to match all the researchers that you have in the university, in the institution. We match those, the names and other information that we have about the researcher, like email, like areas of expertise, like other assets that they had worked on in the past. And we fetch the relevant information from CDI, and that way we automatically create publication lists or output lists for these researchers. And on this list, we create a lot of data. You can see here, this is the type, not all, but there is more here, but the type that we have in CDI. So you can see information, journal articles, almost 1 billion, quarter of a billion of books, more than 100 million patents, data sets, conference decisions, etc. We fetch all this information and we tie those into the data that we have in Esploro to create all of these information for the researcher automatically out of the box when you finish the implementation process. Hopefully you're as pumped about it as I am. I really like this feature. I think this is one of our main successes with Esploro. So I enjoy that. Now, but this is not enough. We also support open access. With supporting the open access, we have quite a few capabilities that I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to drill down to everything here, but first of all, we are a repository that supports all the open access requirements or definitions that we're now completing to enable all the Plan S related requirements. So, and of course, within the repository, we support access rights, embargoes, Creative Commons licensing, etc. We are also working on adding national assessment modules. We already have reports about that. For example, in the UK, reports that are relevant for REF, or in Australia for the ERA. We are aligned with the FAIR research standards. We do have some statistics that help measure adherence to funder open access mandates, and we'll add soon some APC related modules and workflows to help first understand how the APC budgets are managed in the university, but also help managing those. So open access is something that we support, and one of our main pillars that we have. Uh, Sorry, something. Okay. Now let's talk a bit about analytics. So with analytics, we believe because we're creating such a robust and comprehensive repository, we have many ways to expose the information and increase the impact of the information within the university. So, for example, when you talk about research collaboration and you would like to know who researchers collaborate with, whether in the university or with other universities. So we have reports and metrics about those. We can also have research, analytics about impact, which researchers have the most influence in specific domain, and we add more and more ways to measure the impact. And once we add those, we can increase the visibility of these impact figures within for each researchers. And of course, when I'm talking about researcher, I want to say that I'm talking about also academic units. So you can filter the reports to have all these data about a specific researcher, school, college, faculty, but also about the entire university. So again, what are researchers working on now, and what output have they produced recently? This comes with the academic unit prolificity reports. And of course, top fields of study. What are the main fields that are studied by institution, by department, or by the researchers themselves? So this is kind of new analytics that we are very excited to share with you and to release. And another thing that we are adding soon is a new dashboard, analytic dashboard. This is built on new technology that Libris is now shipping. What you see here is actually a new homepage that is part of the user interface revamp that we're doing for the entire platform, higher ed platform products, and that is being shipped these days. So you can see a new portal here, but not just a portal, but the analytics in themselves. We are building those on a new data visualization product to allow for a more intriguing and interactive analytics layer that can be customized and shaped to your own needs and provide insights about all the information that I was just talking about. But it doesn't end here, because I already talked about the fact that Esploro is part of the higher ed platform. So we are leveraging the information, and there are a few examples here of how we can share information and create insights between the products. Here it's an example of slicing the information that comes from Alma and from Esploro to see that what books are published by that you have in the library collection, the holding. You can see here that on the left-hand side that almost 20% of the books published in the faculty are not part of the holding in the library. Or on the right-hand side, you can see examples of journals that universities, that faculties are publishing in, and you have in your collection. This is the top report, but at the bottom you can see the journal not held by the institution, and the faculties from your university publish in those journals. So you may want to get those journals and add those to your collection. Few things about integration. So you can see here these integration and partnership that we already have part of the solution. We are integrating into Altmetrics, into Google Scholar, Crossref, and ORCID, DataSite, and ProQuest. This is dissertation product. We are adding more and more capabilities. We're now in the midst of working with JISC and others to add some more to this list. But one of the main things that Esploro is built upon is to have an open API layer. It's not a siloed solution, but it's a solution that unifies a lot of capabilities into one product, but it's also very open and also out of the box comes with integrations and partnerships. Esploro, as you might have seen so far, we didn't really talk about who are the users of Esploro. And of course, the library is a user, but it does not end there. Researchers are another very important stakeholder. We saw the researcher profile and the capability for them to do deposits directly into Esploro. But I want to highlight here that the research office is a main stakeholder for Esploro as well. We believe that, or we see that they take, research office take a lot of responsibility that is related to some of the work that is done in libraries, and for example, open access workflows, deposit workflows, and of course, analytics. So what we have tried to do with Esploro is to create a product that comes with, out of the box, a way for the workflows to support both the research need, the researcher need, the research office need, and the library need, and by that connecting the various stakeholders through unified workflow and unified product to help bridging the gap, if I may, across all these stakeholders. And I hope this makes sense. As I said, Esploro is part of the higher ed platform. You see all the products here, the Libris products. But what does it mean? What does it really mean? So one of the things you already saw, I gave you some examples, that information is shared between the products because we have one data layer. And another example that I gave is the shared user interface. So changes that are done for Alma user interface, it's part of the platform change, and it changes also Esploro, of course, with the right customization and the capabilities to have a unique UI for Esploro or for other products. But it also allows for more operational advantages. For example, if you have Alma, you already have the higher ed platform installed in your organization, then the users are already there. The integration to the IT, to the HR system is already there. So the implementation is much easier, and changes that are done in one product automatically impact the others. We also support out of the box all the security regulation, GDPR, all the other privacies, open API layer, everything that you know from your current implementations of the higher ed platform automatically inherited into Esploro as well. Esploro is already live for more than a year. We have growing, what I like to say, growing community worldwide of 24 customers. 9 of them are live already. And within 3 months, I hope to have 3 additional live customers in EMEA. Currently in EMEA, we have only 1 live customer in Israel, the Weizmann Institute. But very soon, I hope next month, University of Surrey will go live. And right afterwards, 2 Italian universities, the University of Bolzano and Luke University, will also be live in EMEA. So live product already gain more and more traction throughout the world. And I'm very happy for that, of course. One example of a quote from a librarian in Southern Cross University, one of our first university, that said that she's very happy with Esploro, she mainly talked about the efficiency, how much it's easier to work with. It looks much better, the interface, she talked here about the staff interface, also the portal that is clear and beautiful, and they're happy, which makes us happy. So Southern Cross University in Australia, and we're gathering just this week I had 2 interviews with our customers and they are very happy with the product. Happy to share that. So my last slide before I leave time for questions is just a kind of a recap of the unique value that we believe that come with Esploro. First of all, this is a multi-tenant cloud solution that gets updated every month with a new release. There's no upgrade or a need for a dedicated server. This is a cloud solution which is multi-tenant that supports all disciplines, all academic disciplines. And when I say support, it's the data model and the workflows and the application itself, whether it's STEM, HSS, creative art, etc. Information there is linked. So all information is linked. You can get to the relevant information by various data points, researcher, the assets of the researcher, the grants, patents, etc. Smart harvesting is a very exciting capability of Esploro, leveraging our index with more than 4 billion assets. The analytics that I showed and talked about, the metadata, the flexible metadata, and the openness and the API of the product. I hope that makes sense. And now I'm ready to take questions if there are.
Thank you, Nadav. Thank you so much. There are a couple of questions, actually. In our chat, we have a question about the openness, actually. How do you determine open access status?
So we have a few ways to do that. First, we have, of course, the manual way for a researcher or librarian to add into the assets if they are what is the open access status. We also have integration to Shape or Romeo site, so we help you deliver those. But we also, part of the harvesting mechanism, we take information where available from CDI. So we already have the information whether the asset is embargoed or what are the other access rights for that, or what's the open access status of it. I hope that makes sense and answered the question.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Another question. There is much discussion at the moment about research science quality or lack of quality. For example, science that cannot be reproduced. So it's more than peer review. There is an increasing use of preprints during COVID, help with, for example, maybe through analytics. So is there an increasing use of preprints during COVID?
Yes. So as an ongoing trend, of course, there is much more research being released through preprint servers and mechanism, and it has its pros and cons. As Esploro is not a research reuse mechanism, reusable, not mechanism, sorry, fact checking, but because we help or we tie together the information. So if we have the preprint and we can gather the data set and we can gather additional information about the specific publication preprint and the researcher, we allow for, and it's all available, open access in our research portal, we allow very easily to other researchers to gain and download this information, the preprint, the data set, and try to reproduce the same information. Of course, it depends if the data set is available. Often, unfortunately, researchers not yet deposit data sets, but this is another thing that we encourage, of course, and provide easy ways for researchers to deposit. So I hope this answered Ken's question.
Okay, and can Libris help with accessing quality, for example, through analytics?
Sure. With analytics, you can see how many citations, for example, a specific asset is being cited. And if you want to treat this as a quality measure for the asset, then you can use you can use the analytics for that.
Okay, very well. And another question is, can you repeat what kind of systems Esploro can replace?
Sure, yes. So Esploro can replace all the traditional repository systems, whether open source or commercial systems. It can also replace, or will be able to replace, probably next year, CRIS systems that we are now adding capabilities. For CRIS, we already have profiles, so profiling systems which are standalone can be replaced as well. And of course, research data management system.
Fantastic. Okay. See if there's another question. What types of integrations exist, and specifically, what about funding?
Oh, yeah. So thanks for this question. So I stated in my presentation that we already have out-of-the-box integration, whether it's with DOI services, with ORCID, with Google Scholar, with ProQuest citation, etc. We also have integrations with our own funding solutions, Pivot and Research Professional, that allow for the researcher profile to see in their profile the relevant grants or grants that they can apply for according to the data that we have. We also allow them to search. When they click the search, then it gets them into the equivalent Pivot or Research Professional product. For that, you need to purchase these products as well, of course, but funding is available there as well. We're also now working on adding to Esploro a database of available grants or awarded grants. So once we complete those, you'll have the grants that were awarded for researcher in your university out of the box.
Fabulous. Okay. I do have a final comment here for you. Regarding minting the DOIs, do you have to have an Esploro account? Or did you mean that you have to have an account with another DOI minting service?
So you need to have, currently we support Crossref and DataSite. You need to have membership there, and you put this data into Esploro, and then Esploro automatically takes care of all the rest to do it for you. We are now adding, I think it will happen in several months, a month or two, support of Handle. And the Handle does not require or require membership, but it's cheaper than DataSite and Crossref.
Okay. Perfect. I'll just give another minute or two for additional questions, if there are any. No additional questions. Okay, Nadav, I'm going to thank you very much for your time today. A very fascinating session, very interesting to see how the research, how the libraries can in fact support the research office with all the different elements. I will thank everyone as well for joining us today on our final Thought Thursday Future of Library session. That does close our sessions. All of the recordings will be available and shared on exlibrisgroup.com/Future of Libraries. And we will also email the recordings and the sessions to all of you. So thank you very much, and I will wish you a good weekend. Here for now. Bye-bye.